The movie starts with a montage of a woman skating alone. She's Alex Delgado, and she dreams of winning the field of figure skating. Based on her figure and posture, not to mention her grace and technique on ice, Alex has great potential to become well known in her field. But as always, life has its own plans that we don't anticipate. Its twists and turns are like the ones we see the figure skaters do, slippery and unstable when unsure of the move, but magnificent and satisfying when trust and taking risks are involved. In the next scene, we see Alex teaching a group of young hopefuls inside the skating rink. It isn't shown what happened in between, but it's implied that she took some time off from her passion. After her class, she gets a call from her suitor, Philip, who is getting ready to interview his guest. They'd been on dates twice, but it's clear that Alex doesn't share the same feelings as him. The latter isn't giving up, not just yet. He hopes he can still see her compete at the Nationals. However, Alex isn't entertaining the thought. She has no partner and no coach to train her. It isn't sensible to hope for these things. Philip still says good things to her and asks her to watch his interview. Philip is interviewing the most controversial figure in competitive skating, James McKinsey. He is considered the best in his sport, which is speed skating, and he thinks so too. All these compliments, all the wins he has garnered, all the love from his fans, have all gone up to his head, unfortunately. One can say he has a bloated ego, and has a reputation for being the bad boy on ice. There's no denying he is good at his sport, but he's become too arrogant that he thinks he can do anything. That is why when he punched his teammate, Angus Dwell, and was caught on camera, he was shocked to find out he had been banned by the ISSO, the governing institution for competitive skating. His coach, Wade, is doing his best to control the damage, and vows to return his ace player to the team. But James handles the situation differently. He remains cocky and maintains the position that Angus deserves to be punched. He's gotten his manager to handle all possible sponsorship fallouts, smoothen rough ends, and take care of his schedules. Meanwhile, he'll do all the press tours, interviews, and whatnots to keep him in the limelight. For example, this interview with Philip. Philip is trying to get any interesting reactions by baiting James with his scandal, but the latter expresses his opinion that he's done nothing wrong. You have to give it to James for maintaining his stubbornness and ego. However, when Philip asks if he regrets blowing up his career, his mask of confidence slips a little and shows what he truly feels inside. That he has indeed blown up his career, but he isn't ready to admit it yet. Nonetheless, he stirs the conversation back on track, where he says he is the best skater, then and now. When asked what he plans to do next, James coyly says they will just have to wait and see. But he promises it will blow everyone's mind. Meanwhile, Alex joins her mother for dinner that night. The mother is rightfully worried about Alex and her future. She knows that her daughter loves to be on ice, so it pains her to see Alex laboring on teaching when she has a choice to find a suitable partner and a coach. Alex calms her mother and assures her she's doing okay. Little did they know that things would change for Alex soon. The next day, a man waits for her inside the training center. Alex initially thinks he's the father of another potential student, so she tells him she can't take in anymore. But the man corrects her. He is Mr. Wan, and he is there to offer Alex a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. He works for Zhen Zhang, a renowned skater coach who has sent talented people to the Nationals and made them win gold. Mr. Wan tells Alex Zhang wants to coach her, specifically. As for her partner, there is no problem with that, as he is already waiting for her in the rink. To Alex's displeasure, it's James McKinsey who will apparently become her partner. She immediately says no and is about to leave, when Mr. Wan stops her. He explains that this is not a publicity stunt to clean James's image. As mentioned earlier, Zhang has picked her because she has previously won the gold medal before, so he knows he can develop her skills to reach greater heights. He also says he can see James's potential, and that he's the perfect partner for her. Zhang can't speak English, so Mr. Wan is translating for him. Well, Alex knows Zhang and his reputation, so she can definitely trust him. But as for James, that remains to be seen. Even before she gets on ice, their personalities clash already. His cool, arrogant demeanor is a wrong match for her fiery spirit. James takes the first step though by admitting they got off on the wrong foot and introduces himself again. Then he tells Alex she'll look hotter with blonde hair. With that, she walks out on them. James isn't giving up, though. He disturbs Alex in her apartment in the middle of the night, drunk and determined to make her say yes. When she asks him why he is choosing her, he can't give any good answer. She is sure he can pick someone else who will readily agree with him. She is also sure he can convince Zhang to make him change partners. So why is James insisting it should be her? He returns the next day with his answer. He parks his intrusive black bus he calls his icebox, which is basically his home, in front of the training center and waits for Alex. When she arrives, he runs up to her to tell her 3 reasons why he's choosing her. He says she has got the balls, the guts, and isn't afraid to take risks. Then, he baits her by saying she's afraid now. He adds that she only won before because of her previous partner, Zach Conroy. But if she takes the risk now and skates with him, then she can win the gold again and be recognized for her talents. Alex still refuses to go. That night, James even sends a cutout picture of her skating with him, topped with blonde hair. The next day, James is anticipating Alex's arrival. Mr. Wan, worrying that their plans may not push through, starts recommending possible replacements for Alex. But Zhang refuses them all. He is resolute in coaching both Alex and James. And, to James's relief, she finally arrives. Surely she agrees, not because of the cutouts, but because she has realized she isn't the same as the one who took risks before. And now is her chance to find that version of herself again. During the preliminary routines taught to them, Zhang can see that Alex and James both have the flair on ice, but the chemistry is not quite there yet. He is strict with them, reminding them that they can only rest when he gives them time. He also makes them undergo several cardio and muscle exercises to build their resistance and strength. Eventually, they reach the stage where he teaches them the routine for their performance. They have been training almost every day for 1.5 months. Considering that they only have 5 weeks left until the Nationals, one can say that what they are doing is a tall order for what they want to achieve. For James, he wants to show the public, and the ISSO, that he's the greatest man on ice, that he can be successful at any competitive skating he ventures into. As for Alex, she wants to find her passion again, and revive her competitive streak. Both of them are approaching this skating competition with different goals, which makes them vulnerable to that missing piece needed for them to win. Zhang continues to monitor their training. Their movements on ice continue to improve, yet something is lacking in them. After the training, Alex usually waits for her students. Despite her personal endeavors, she hasn't given up her teaching position. She tells James to leave before her students arrive, but the man stubbornly stays. He's curious about how his partner teaches kids. So, for that session, he takes over the lessons and activities. Mostly it's about gliding on ice and doing freestyles, with occasional stumbles from both teachers. But the kids have a great time, and by the end of the session, everyone is smiling and feeling good. Alex feels good, too. So when James invites her to a bar that night, she agrees. James is curious about her, so he asks what happened with Zach Conroy. As it turns out, Zach used to be Alex's partner, both on and off ice. However, he incurred a career-ending injury. He retired from skating, leaving Alex partnerless. That was also the end of their romantic relationship. Because of this, she is scared to try again. But when this opportunity to skate comes, she decides it may be worth a try. James understands where his partner's coming from. Despite his arrogant attitude, he knows how to listen well. Before they can continue their conversation, an unexpected arrival sours their evening. Angus Dwell and his friends have arrived at the bar. Angus taunts James, even going as far as warning Alex to not trust him because James doesn't know how to be in a team and only thinks of himself. A bar fight is inevitable, and soon Angus and James are exchanging blows. What surprises James is that Alex joins the fray. In fact, she has a decent right hook. They become the center of the news the next day. Zhang is not happy about Alex's hangover or the bruise under James's eyes. The training still pushes through for that day. To their surprise, both Alex and James are gliding easily on ice. Their movements seem to match with each other, and their chemistry becomes stronger. Mr. Wan and Zhang both think they should send the pair to more bar fights, but perhaps that should be their last resort. For now, they are happy that Alex and James are in sync. Alex's mother checks up on her daughter. She massages her sore legs while she asks for updates about her training, and of course, her love life. Alex says she and Philip are not dating anymore, and they don't have any future together. On the other hand, James is a big piece of meat that talks and needs constant attention like a toddler. The mother becomes interested and thinks her daughter likes James. Alex becomes flushed and refuses to elaborate further. Meanwhile, James is practicing alone in the arena. One can see that he's slowly starting to become serious and dedicated to figure skating. Disturbing his peaceful practice is Wade, his coach. He tells James there's a way for him to return to the team. That is, if he makes a public apology to Angus for that incident. James is adamant he won't stoop down that low. He sees Angus as a second-rate speed skater, far from his superb skills on ice. There's no way he'll lower his head in front of Angus. Wade points out that if he keeps doing this, he'll soon lose his opportunities. His sponsors will drop him, his popularity will wane, and soon he'll be out of any career. This figure skating gig is good publicity, but as a career move, not a wise one. James says he won't fail because he is the best skater in the world. Wade answers he was. Because of this conversation, James's performance in their training is deeply affected. He returns to his old ways, being arrogant, bossy, and stubborn. He even refuses to take accountability when he makes a mistake, causing Alex to fall. Zhang reminds him that his first and foremost responsibility is to protect the girl. But before he can do that, he needs to build trust with her. Zhang decides to let them practice the music to which they dance. Alex has chosen the music without consulting James. Tensions are running high, so Mr. Wen suggests they should do a costume check. But even with that, James seems to become more hot-headed, clashing with Alex's fierceness. He thinks he looks ridiculous with his pink shirt on. Just as with the music, Alex has not consulted her partner about their costumes. She tells him they should be more concerned with the routine rather than their image. Fed up with all this, he tells them to screw off and walks out on them. Zhang and Mr. Wen have no choice but to force the two inside the rink, and force them into something similar to a couple's therapy session. At first, both are hard-headed and won't follow the instructions. Soon, Alex relents by sharing the best traits she remembers from her previous partner. But the big revelation is James's past. As it turns out, his father passed away when he was 10. He and his mother used to be homeless, mainly living in a van for many years. Alex is taken aback to know about all these things. James refuses to answer or participate in this nonsense. He walks out on them again. Alex relays this to her mother, who is shocked and feels pity for the man. If that's what he had been through, then it's no wonder why he has that attitude, and why he has to fight strongly to be where he is now. Alex disagrees, saying his past doesn't give him the right to be rude and bossy. She complains that James doesn't know how to work in a team. Her mother reminds her that she is also like that, referring to the music and costumes she hadn't consulted with him. Alex is frustrated, but the mother only reminds her that for their pair to work out, they must remember to work as a team and build trust with each other. As she says, people can do things better together than what they can do separately. Meanwhile, James spends time making smoothies to calm his bad mood. Then, he gets an unexpected visit from Zhang. Mr. Wan is not around, so there is no one available for translation. Zhang has brought magazine pages featuring Alex and her previous time as a figure skater. In the first picture, she looks good in red as the article recognizes her skills. But in the second picture, there's a clear shot of her arguing with Conroy, which began her hiatus in her career. Despite the language barrier, Zhang manages to convey what he wants to say to him. Getting a banana, he makes a crushing motion with it. James doesn't understand any word he says, but intuitively, he understands that the old man must be telling him not to crush Alex's dreams again. She has the potential, and he is her ticket to realize that dream. The same way that she is his ticket to redeem himself to the public and the world of professional skating. The next day, James arrives at the rink where Alex, Zhang, and Mr. Wen are already waiting. Both have cooled off their hot heads. James starts by apologizing for his behavior yesterday. Alex does the same, recognizing her mistake for not asking him his opinion on their music and costumes. Satisfied with their truce, Zhang proposes a ridiculous idea for them, that they should live under the same roof for the remaining days until the competition. Moreover, James should live with Alex in her apartment. For some weird reasons, both agree with the suggestion. That night, Alex welcomes James into her unit. Of course, she won't let him sleep on her bed with her, so he will take the couch. James is not used to the stiff and narrow couch, but the sight of Alex and her cute jam is more than makes up for his suffering. Perhaps you've heard of the saying that a man and a woman living under the same roof don't just spend the time playing poker. But in the case of Alex and James, they do. In fact, they play strip poker. Nothing like innocent fun and games, right? Thankfully, the mother arrives, bringing them cookies. One look at James has her approving, especially when she sees his comic boxers. The next day, they leave the apartment at the same time. James is wondering why Alex is carrying all those heavy bags. She says these are all her gear for her teaching job. James suddenly suggests she should quit her teaching job. He can pay her in all of her training, so that she won't be hauling those bags every day. Alex is grateful, but she can't give up her financial stability. James doesn't push the idea, but he expresses his comment that Alex may be keeping her job in case their gig falls through. She assures him it's nothing like that, so he assures her that he won't be crushing her bananas, meaning he won't be crushing her dreams again. It genuinely baffles Alex because who says anything about bananas? Later, James meets with his manager. He implores James to keep a straight head and stop pushing through with the figure skating stunt. He reports that sponsors are starting to drop James left and right, and that he's becoming the butt of jokes. Soon, he may find it hard to return to speed skating if he continues this stunt. Worse, if he fails figure skating as well. But James is determined to win this, to show the world that he's not just a wonder boy for speed skating. He makes a deal with his manager. He should do his part in keeping his wealth and reputation afloat, and James will do his part to give a good performance. The night before the nationals, James wakes Alex up to show her a stunt he has been creating on his mind. He calls it the Machinator and shows a series of stick figures doing some sort of stunts. Initially, Alex doesn't want to hear anything about it, but then James expresses his true feelings about figure skating. Of course, he's transparent in saying he only did this to save his career. He says that at first, he thought he wouldn't like it, but as they continue their training, he realizes he likes it. He likes how the movements are so precise, and how he must anticipate her next step so they won't clash or have any untoward incident. He loves how they are in sync on ice, and that's why he has come up with such daring maneuvers. Alex is convinced of his sincerity, so she removes her clothes and says they should do it together. James doesn't expect this pleasant turn of events, but then he gets disappointed when he realizes Alex means that they should practice the movement soon. The maneuvers he's proposing are quite dangerous if they are done without care. It involves Alex going upside down as James carries her, then it proceeds to her doing an elegant axel jump. It's a very daring move, but when done properly, will surely wow the audience. Alex and James keep on practicing until the wee hours of the morning. However, Zhang and Mr. Wan find out they are practicing a new routine. The couple gets reprimanded by Zhang, who tells them they shouldn't be risking creating any freestyle moves on the day of the competition. He tells Alex she should be tempering James, not become like him. She takes offense at this and runs into their locker room. James follows her. He tells her it's still their decision in the end to make the move. Alex points out that Zhang is right, they shouldn't make unnecessary changes in their routine. James insists they should do it, but she disagrees. It will be her on the air who will make the maneuver work. She will be the one risking her career and life by doing it. James shouts back that his career and his life are on the line as well. He has no more sponsors, and he's not sure if he can go back to his old team. Then he points out the very reason why Alex accepted his offer to skate with him in the first place. It's because she's someone who takes risks and will do anything for the win. She sees this opportunity as her ticket back into figure skating, and she'll do whatever it takes to make it. She's not someone who plays it safe. She's someone who's out there to win, just like him. Alex realizes that what James has said is true. She reveals that she has quit her teaching job. This shows her commitment to her passion, whatever may happen in the competition. There is tension between them, but it doesn't have anything to do with the competition. It's more about the bubbling passion between them that has been unnoticed since day one. And since they have both made it clear that they have the same goal, it makes it easier for them to express what they truly feel for each other. James kisses her, and she ardently responds. Soon, they start the day by making love. Later that day, the national competition for figure skating is held at the training center. Many talented pairs have shown their routines to the judges. It's correct to say that the competition is indeed hard. But the main highlight is the crowd's favorite, the Richardsons, and the anticipated performance by James McKinsey and Alex Delgado. Everyone is waiting for the bad boy on ice to commit a mistake so they can make a joke out of him. But to everyone's surprise, the pair shows an elegant short program with all the basic routines. They are seeing James in a different light, and that he can be as professional and dedicated. It's like they are seeing a different version of him. After the round for the short program routine, reporters crowd around James to ask him about his figure skating journey. Alex, not wanting the limelight for herself, discreetly walks away. She bumps into Philip, who is covering the event in the news. He congratulates her for doing a job well done. Then he asks if he still has a chance with her. Alex truthfully says they're better off as friends. Phillips accepts this decision gracefully. He kisses her cheeks as his way of saying goodbye and wishing them luck. Unfortunately, James, who is far from them, doesn't hear the conversation and only sees that Alex is being kissed by someone. This hurts him greatly, and he walks out. Alex enters the locker room, where there's a red dress waiting for her, with a letter from James. She wears it and excitedly proceeds to the restaurant that James indicated in his letter. However, he doesn't show up, even after 2 hours. She finds where he has gone the next day. It turns out, he chose to stay at the bar the whole night. Someone recognized him and started taking a video which went viral that morning. In the video, it shows James telling a beautiful woman that someone is just using him to advance her career. A user. Alex is incensed by this. She can't believe he would refer to her like that. The tension between them grows strong, which isn't helpful. It's time to show their routine for the long program, and they have both planned to do the Machinator maneuver. But because they are angry with each other, it certainly affects their trust in each other. Even if Alex clarifies about Philip kissing her to wish them luck, the damage has been done. On the rink, when it's time to do the move, it's Alex who backs out. This clearly affects their routine and almost ruins their chance to proceed to the finals. As she goes back to the locker room, she yells at James that she's quitting. Many things have happened following the fiasco at the competition. James has been brought back to the speed skating team. Apparently, the ISSO has seen his dedication and lifted their ban on him. This means he can join the team for the championship. In addition, he makes history as the first skater to compete in both speed skating and figure skating at the same time. As it turns out, he and Alex are chosen as alternates for the World Championship, which means he needs to train double time, both on his original sport and his new one. But everyone is speculating on whether his partner will return to his side to compete after that public scene. Meanwhile, Alex chooses to sulk for a good 2 weeks. She's too upset by everything that has happened then. She takes comfort in her mother's arms as she admits half of the fiasco was her fault. She admits to being too furious with James, by playing it safe, that she chose not to go for it and left him hanging. Despite this, her mother encourages her to go to Montreal. It's too late to quit now, she's almost there to reach her dreams. Her mother promises that whatever happens, Alex can come back to her apartment with a good supply of ice cream. And so, Alex takes her courage and flies to Montreal with her coaches. She hasn't seen James yet, and she worries that he has also quit figure skating. While anticipating, Zhang and Mr. Wen approach her with unbelievable news. The Richardsons, the country's bet in the World Championship, surprisingly withdrew from the competition because of a hand injury. This means that Alex and James should compete since they are the alternates. Mr. Wen starts calling James, while Alex gets ready. James is with his team. Wade is giving them a pep talk about winning. He's happy that his team is complete, now that James is back. He won't let him move away again. When he receives a letter that says James is needed for the figure skating competition, he chooses not to give it to him. As the team enters the arena, James calls Angus. He wishes him luck, much to the latter's surprise. Then he leaves his team. He meets Alex in the hallway, who tells him they're supposed to compete. As they go back to the rink, they clear any misunderstanding between them. They apologize for their behavior, especially with Alex's outburst last time. James tells her why he chose to go back, even when he's uncertain that Alex will be there. He says she's her team, and teams don't leave each other in times of need. And, just before they go out to the rink, he confesses his love for her. This time, as they do their long program, both are in sync and are feeling their trust in each other. And when it's time to make the move, Alex puts her trust in him. They do the maneuver magnificently, which earns them enormous applause from the audience. They end their routine as planned. But of course, James is a man who likes to show off. Alex says she loves him, too, and he kisses her. You can guess if they have won the world championships. But they sure have won each other's hearts.